Once again, good morning all. So today also we are going to study about control statements. So in the last two sessions we studied while loop and do while. Today we are going to study an important thing, that is for loop. So for is a pre-test or entry controlled loop. So if you remember while loop, first the text expression is tested, and if it is found true, the body of the statement or the statement block will be executed. Then some updation of local variable will happen. Again the expression will be tested. But in do while, first the body of the loop or statement block will be executed. Then the condition will be checked. And if it is true, that body of the loop will be executed again. So here for loop is very much similar to while loop. Both are pre-test loops, or it is also called entry controlled loop, because the condition is tested before executing the statements. So for is a pretest or entry controlled loop. The general form of the for statement is as follows. For is the keyword, and we have some initialization step. After that we will put a semicolon, then we will write the condition, test condition or text expression. Then we will put a semicolon, then we will write updating statement, and inside that we will write statement. Here the braces are omitted because we have only one statement. If we have multiple statements or more than one statement, we have to or we must put those braces. So initialization, we all know, assigning initial value to control variable. Text expression, we all know, it will be returning the value true or false. Updating also, you know, the value of control variable will get updated. Statement is also called body of the loop or statement block. So here first initialization will happen, and it only executed once. In variable will be initialized only once. Then the expression will be tested. If it is true, the statement will be executed. That's why it is numbered as 1, 2, 3. Statement will be executed. After the entire statements are executed, it will update the control variable. Then again the expression will be tested. If it is true, statement will be executed. Again updation of local variable will happen. Again expression will be tested, and if it is false, the statement will not be executed. So that is the working of while loop. So here if you look at this flow graph, it will be very clear. One occurs only once. That means initialization is done only once. Then the expression will be tested. Then it moved to 3. 3 means statements will be executed. After all the statements are executed, it will move to updation. Updation means updation of control variables. Then again the text expression will be tested. If it is found true, statement 3 will be executed. If it is false, the next executable statement will be executed. So here is the flow chart. Initialization, text expression. If it is true, T stands for true, statement will be executed. Then updating will be, then the updation of local variable will happen. Again text expression is executed, and this loop will continue until this text expression is true. At some point it will become false. At that time it will not execute these statements, and it will execute the next statement after the for loop. So the flow chart is same as while. The flow chart is same as while. Here this is actually the flow chart for while. Initialization, text expression, statement, followed by updating again text expression. So the same flowchart is applicable to while loop also. Sorry, for loop also. So here is the explanation. Initialization of control variables is done first using assignment statement. So initialization means assigning some initial value to the control variable. It is done using assignment statement. The value of control variable is tested using test expression. Then text expression will test a condition based on the control variable. If the text expression is true, the body of the loop is executed. If it is true, this body of the loop will be executed. Otherwise, loop is terminated. If this text expression is false, this loop will not execute anymore. That means the loop will be terminated and execution continues with the statement that immediately follows the loop. So you just imagine here I have some statements. So if it is false means this statement will be executed. When the body of the loop is executed, control is transferred back to the for statement after evaluating last statement in the loop. So after executing the last statement in the loop or in the block, the control will go to for loop again for updation. Now the control variable is incremented or decremented and new value of control variable is again tested. This is important. Control variable is incremented or decremented. It is generally called as updating. So it can either be incremented or decremented. So it can be incremented by 1. It can be decremented by 1. It can be incremented by 2. So it can be get divided or it can get multiplied. So any updation can be done in this step. It is generally incrementing. The value, either the value will increase or it will decrease. That's the meaning of this incremented or decremented. Then again the condition will be tested. If the condition is satisfied, and the new value of the control variable is tested again. That means this expression will be tested again. If the condition is satisfied, the body of loop is again executed. This process continues till the value of control variable fails to satisfy the test condition. So this is all about for loop. So I hope you got some idea about for loop and it will be clear when we do some examples. Any doubt in these things? Any doubt in any of statements? Please respond. Write C program to generate geometric progression. Find factorial of a number. Check whether a given number is prime or not. So we will do 3 examples. So geometry progression, I am saving it using GP, file name gp.c. Ashwini TR. Ashwini, can you hear me? So Ashwini, what are the inputs to, how many inputs will be there in this program?
1.
For geometric progression, what are the factors you needed or what are the parameters you needed? So what are the parameters? So we already we already saw a program to write arithmetic progression. Similarly, how many inputs will be there in geometric progression?
First.
Okay, first term. Then
Difference.
It is not difference. I also forgot about that. What is that? Can anyone say about that? First term, then
common ratio, sir.
Common ratio R. Okay, fine. Common ratio. Okay. Ashwini, then we need number of terms n.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first term will be A. Second term will be AR. Third term will be AR square and so on. Am I correct? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So earlier we used while loop. Here I am going to use for loop. So main three variables I am declaring a comma r comma n. Printf enter values of a r n scanf percentage d percentage d comma ampersand a comma ampersand r comma ampersand n. Okay. Next, listen carefully. I am writing the for statement. For I equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus. So here I used a variable I, so I have to declare that variable. Now I am declaring it. Deepak.
Sir.
So inside for what are the three things? First one is,
First one is I is equal to 1.
so what is that? So we already studied the general form.
Yes. Store I 1 in I.
That is initialization.
I initialization.
So I less than or equal to n is text expression.
Yes, sir.
Here it is I plus plus, that is updation. That is updation. So these are the three things inside for loop. So inside the for statement. I equal to 1 is initialization. I less than or n is condition. Deepak, you can mute the mic. I plus plus is the updation. Updation means it can be either increment or decrement. I already discussed about that. We already discussed about that. Here I plus plus means increment. So here I is the control variable. I is the control variable. So here I have a variable I. So it will be 1. So in this for loop, for what values, so the important thing is whenever you saw a for loop, there will be a control variable. Here the control variable is I. First thing you have to understand is what are the valid control variable values. What are the valid control variable values? Here I equal to 1. So initialization will be there. So first I will got 1. So just imagine here I am writing n equal to 5. So then you just test the condition. 1 less than 5, it is true. So this is a valid I value. Then after that condition is true, so some statements will be executed. Then I value will be incremented. It is incremented by 1. So the next I value is 2. Again you just test the condition. 2 less than 5 is true. So it is a valid value. Similarly, next there will be 3. Next there will be 4. It is also valid. Next it becomes 5. 5 less than or equal to 5 is also true. So it is valid. What about 6? 6 less than or equal to 5 is false. So this is not valid. This is not valid. So I can take values in this for loop. I can take values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and for these values of I, some statements will be executed here. For these values of I, some statements will be executed here. So here in this example, n equal to 5 means n means number of terms. I have 5 terms. So the value of I also ranging from 1 to 5. So when I write arithmetic progression, if you remember, I used a variable, I think it is counter or something like that, C or CND, something like that. Here actually this I is keep tracking of the number of terms. There we studied A1, A2, A1, A2 up to A5. So this index value or this subscript value is keep tracked by this variable I. So I'm making a slight modification in the for loop. Fida, Sahuda,
Yes, sir.
in this for loop, what are the possible values of I? Initially it will be 1, I equal to 1. Then what will be the I value?
1 plus 2, 3.
1 plus 2, that is 3, very good. Then what happens?
Then check condition check.
What about the condition? Let it be 5.
True.
True. Okay, then what happens?
3 plus 2, 5.
5. What about the condition?
True.
True. Then I value becomes
7.
7. What about the condition?
False.
False. So the valid I values are 1, 3 and
3, 5.
5. Okay, very good. I will do one more example. Filsa Karim.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about the valid I values in this for loop?
1,
1, 2, then
4.
4. Okay, then okay, then it will become 6. But the condition 6 less than or equal to 5 is false. So the valid I values are 1, 2 and 4. Okay, very good. So whenever you see a while loop,
Sir, 1 it's
okay.
1 to 4 8.
Okay, sorry. 4, 8. Okay, fine. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 4, 8. Anyway, this is false. 4, 8 less than or equal to 5 is false. So these are the valid I values. So wait, one more thing. Gautam S. Krishna.
Yes, sir.
In this for loop, what are the possible I values? Initially it will be 1. Next what will happen?
1 by 2.
1 by 2. What is 1 by 2?
0.5.
This is integer division. So
Integer,
is there any
integer
0.5?
No, sir.
It will be 0. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So 0 less than 5 is
True.
true. Again I equal to I by 2. But I value is 0. 0 by 2 is
0.
0. Again what will happen? 0 by 2. So 0. So listen carefully. 0. Always the value of I am getting is 0. So and the condition is 0 less than 5. So it will continues like that. So this loop will not terminate. So it is also, Such loops are called infinite loops. It is an example for infinite loop. Because the loop will never terminate. It will always produce the text expression value as true. So it will never terminate. Okay, let me try one thing. Print f hello. It is ampersand here. So I am entering some values 1, 2, 3. Look, the hello is printed continuously, infinitely. That's why I told you this is an infinite loop. It will go on and on until I close this window. Is it clear? I hope you understood the concept of infinite loop also. Please respond. Okay. So I will come back to our problem. So here I have 3 inputs, A, R, and N. So I am making the changes in for loop. A plus plus. So from this for loop, it is clear that hello will be printed n times. If n value is 5, it will be printed 5 times. If n value is 6, it will be printed 6 times. Since the so for what you understand is, so hello will be printed n times. So if I write some statements instead of hello, those statements will be executed n times. Those statements will be executed n times. So I am writing some statements. Print f percentage d comma a Google Krishna.
Yes, sir.
Google, what's the meaning of this statement a star equal to d?
Sir, A is equal to A into D.
Okay, very good. A equal to a star d. So I'm executing this statement, executing this program. Here I got an error. Sorry, it is actually R, common ratio. Okay.
Sir, in line number 8,
Ah,
and sign.
line number
And
8.
sign.
What happened?
And sign.
So this is a printf statement
A-
now. There is no need of and sign.
Okay.
So first time 2, common ratio 3 and 5. So initially it is 2, 2 into 6 is, sorry, 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 3 is 18, 18 into 3 is 54, 54 into 3 is 162. So our program is finished. So I hope you understood the concept. So how many times this loop executed? 5 times. Because n value is 5. So this one I will show you I will draw the table also. So in our example, I got A as 2, R as 3, and N as 5. I am using one more variable, I. So initial value of I is 1. So the condition will be tested. 1 less than or equal to 5 is true, 1 less than or equal to 5 is true. So these two statements are executed. So first thing is A will be printed. So this 2 will be printed. Then A equal to A star R. A is 2, R is 3. So 2 star 3 is 6. That 6 will be stored in A. That means the A value get updated. So it becomes 6. Next what happens is I plus plus will happen. I plus plus will happen. So I is 1. I becomes 2. Next thing happens is you will test the condition. Condition is I less than or equal to n. 2 less than or equal to 5 is true. So these two statements will be executed. Print the value of A. So this 6 will be printed. Then the A value will be updated. So A means 6 into 3. 6 into 3 is 18. 18 will be stored in A. So A value get updated. Mary Alina.
Yes, sir.
Next what happens?
I become 3.
I become 3. Very good. I become 3. Nuja MP.
Yes, sir.
Next what happens?
And next 54 is stored in A.
No. Before that one step is there. I plus plus. After that, this condition will be checked. 3 and 5 will be compared. 3 less than or equal to 5 is true. It is true. So these two statements will be executed. What is the first statement? Print the value of A. So this 18 will be printed. Then 18 into 3 will be stored in A. So 54 will be stored in A. Next I plus plus. I becomes 4. Again 4 and 5 will be compared. Condition is true. So these two statements are again executed. 54 is printed. Then 54 into 3. What is 54 into 3? 162. 162 is stored in A. Again I plus plus. I becomes 5. 5 less than or equal to 5 is true. So 162 is printed. Again, listen carefully. 162 is printed. A star equal to R. 162 into 3. 162 into 3 is 486. 486. Okay. 486. So the value of A becomes 486. Then I plus plus. I becomes 6. 6 less than or equal to 5 is false. So what happens? These two statements will not be printed. That means this 486 will not be printed to output screen. But the value of A is 486. In the program, the value of A is 486. But in the program, I designed in such a way that that value will not be printed. So in the output, these things will be appear. Any doubt? Is it clear? Any statement need any explanation? Please respond. Okay. Can I move to the next example? So I'm moving to the next example. Find factorial of a number. It's a very simple program. Fact.c. Rahul Bharadwaj.
Yes, sir.
What is factorial of 4?
24, sir.
24. How 24? Okay, 24. 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. What is factorial of 0?
1, sir.
Factorial of 0 is 1. Okay. Factor of 0 is 1. So I am writing this 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 as 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. It is very clear. So what is factorial of n? What is factorial of 4? Factorial 4 is nothing but product of first 4 numbers. Product of first 4 numbers. First 4 numbers are 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 is factorial. So what is factorial of n? 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into up into some dots into n minus 1 into n. That will be the factorial. So factorial can otherwise called as product of first n numbers. Rishi Sagar,
Yes, sir.
how many inputs will be there? How many inputs? One input. Okay. Value of n. So enter value of n. Rohit PB.
Yes, sir.
So here it is 4. Here how many multiplications are happening?
3.
3 multiplications. That means if it is n means how many multiplications will happen?
N minus 1 multiplication.
N minus 1 multiplication will happen. Okay, correct. So next I will write the program. After that I will explain it. So I am declaring one variable as fact equal to 1. Saget Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Next what will I write? Factorial of percentage d equal to percentage d. So then what will I write? So if I enter input value 4, I must get an output like factorial of 4 equal to 24. So what will I write? Okay, no problem. Salas Paul Augustine. Saget, you can mute your mic. Salas.
Yes, sir.
So what will I write?
പറയാം.
Salas, unmute the mic and say the answer.
Sir, can I say one more time?
I can't
sir.
get you. What?
Question ഒന്നുകൂടെ പറയാവോ?
So here I am writing factorial of percentage d equal to percentage d, comma. Next, what will I write?
Sir, എനിക്ക് ക്ലിയർ ആയില്ല സാർ ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞത് എന്താണ്?
Okay, no problem. Okay. Shashikant Singh,
Yes, sir.
what will I write?
So, n and
n and
Factorial.
n and
Factorial. Fact.
n and fact. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So here in place of first percentage d, n value will be printed. If I enter 4 factorial of 4 equal to percentage d, in place of this percentage d, factorial value will be printed. Okay. So I will explain this program with the help of some examples. Comma ampersand n.
Headline wrong, sir.
Okay, because n is not declared. No need of a. Again an error. I is not declared. So I am declaring I. Okay. So I am giving 4. Factorial of 4 equal to 24. One more condition I am checking what happens if I give 0. Factorial of 0 is 1. Okay. First I will explain for 4, then I will explain for 0. So here fact and I. And also one more variable n. Shidin Raj,
Yes, sir.
what is the initial value of fact?
Initial value 1.
1. What is the initial value of I?
I1.
1. Okay. So I equal to 1 is executed. Next what will happen? Here n is 4. Okay. Next what will happen?
Condition check.
Okay. Confident ആയിട്ട് പറയും, കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല, പറയുന്നതൊക്കെ ശരിയാണ്. So what about the condition? Whether it is true or false?
True.
True. So what will happen?
1 into 1.
1 into 1. Fact equal to fact star I.
Ah.
So 1 into 1 will be calculated and it will be stored in fact. Okay. Okay. Sham Santosh.
Yes.
Next
Sir.
what will happen?
I will be incremented
I will be incremented. So what will be the value of I?
to
2. Next what will happen?
condition will be checked.
Condition will be checked. What is the condition there?
I less than or equal to 4.
I means 2. 2 less than or equal to 4 is true.
Less than or equal to true.
Okay. So what will happen?
1 into 2, 2. 2
1 into 2. 2 will be stored in
fact.
fact. Okay, very good. Tanush J.
Sir,
What is the next step?
I will be incremented
So I becomes
3.
3. Next what happens?
Condition checking.
What is the condition there?
It's true. 3 is less than 4.
3 is less than 4. That is true. So what will happen?
2 into
2 into
condition work comes up.
condition is true.
2 into
so
3, yes.
2 into 3. Where it will be stored?
Fact.
Fact. So fact becomes 6. Varada,
Yes, sir.
what will be executed next?
I increment
Okay. So I becomes
4.
4.
4.
What about the condition?
Then condition true.
True. So what will happen?
Fact 6 into 4, 24.
24 will be stored in fact. Okay.
In fact,
Then what will happen?
then increment I increment
I
5.
becomes 5.
5.
Then what will happen?
Check condition.
What about the
False.
condition?
False.
Condition is false. So this statement will not be executed anymore. This statement will be executed anymore. So next executed statement will be line number 10. So what is line number 10? Print factorial of percentage d equal to percentage d. In place of this percentage d, this value will be printed, 4. In place of percentage d, fact value will be printed. Fact is 24. So 24 will be printed. So that's how I got 4 equal to 24. Factor 4 equal to 24. Okay. So I will try for some other example. 5, it is 120. Sorry. I am giving 5, it is 120. 5 factorial is 120. Then I am executing for 6. It will be 720. It is also correct. I am just giving some 20. Did everyone notice the value? What is the factorial of 20 I got here? I got a negative value. I got a negative value. This is happened because factorial of 20 is a very large value, and where I am storing these values, I am storing in fact. So fact is a variable which can hold integer value, So while we discuss data types, we discuss the range of values. So I think some range of values I have discussed. So in the actual case, this factorial of 20 is greater than that range. That's why here I am getting some unusual outputs. So don't worry about that. This program will not work for larger values. So anyway, this program is only for understanding purpose. So sometimes you may do the program and you may give a large value. At that time you will get some indifferent values. Don't worry about that because the memory location can't hold that large value. You can declare it as long int. Still, after some point, long int also can't hold some large values. At that time also this error will occur again. So that's only for your information. Any doubt in this program? Any doubt in this program?
No, sir.
Okay. So can I move to the next program? So I'm moving to the next program. It's a very important one. For a lot of examination, they ask the question. Write a C program to check whether a given number is prime or not. Prime dot C. Okay, listen carefully. So this will be the last program today we are going to discuss. After that you can go for the break. So after that the class will be winded up. So how many inputs will be there? Varsha, Shibu?
1, sir.
One input. We will give a number and the output will be it is a prime or it is not a prime. This will be the output. Okay. One input will be there. That is n. Anu, Fasmin.
Yes, sir.
So what is a prime number?
A number which is only divisible by 1 or itself.
Okay. A prime number is a number which is divisible by 1 or itself. Mayangraj,
Yes, sir.
what is not a prime number?
Which can be divisible other than 1 and itself.
Okay, very good definition. If a number is divisible by other than 1 and n, then we can say that number is not a prime. So keep that in mind and approach this problem. If it is divisible by other than 1 or n, then we can say it is not a prime number. Okay. Suppose I got a number n. So first I will divide it by 2. If some okay, Adarsh Kumar,
Yes, sir.
how to check divisibility? Which operator is used for divisibility in C?
Modular operator.
Model operator. Very good. So what we are going to do is we are applying some modular operation. First we will do for n mod 2. If it is 0, we can say it is not a prime. Then if it is some other values, it can, when we dividing it by 2, it can be 0 or 1. If it is not 0, we will try for 3. N mod 3. If it is not divisible by 3, we will try for n mod 4. So what will be the last term? Aditya, what will be the last term? We are trying only the numbers other than 1 and n. So what will be? Last will be n by n mod something. What is that n mod something? What is that something? N minus
1.
n minus 1. Very good. N minus 1. Okay. So here we are dividing n by 2, 3, 4, 5 up to n minus 1. Those are some continuous values. Can I write a for loop for that? Advait.
Sir.
So the values are 2, 3, 4 up to n minus 1. So can I write a for loop for that? Can you write a for loop for that? How to write?
For
For
I equal to 2.
Okay, very good. Then I
I less than or equal
I less than or equal to n minus
n
1.
minus 1.
Then I plus plus. Okay. That is the for loop. So I am doing the remaining part. Int I must be initialized. N must be n. I declare n. Then printf enter a number. Store it in C. Store it in n scanf integer. So percentage d comma n. If n mod 2 equal to 0. So first I will write not the exact program. So for understanding purpose, I will write a bit wrong program. From that you can understand it. Printf not even. sorry, not prime. Acknell Jaws,
Yes, sir.
where I will write printf prime. So two outputs are not prime and prime. Where I will write prime.
Sir, is it out of braces?
Out of braces. Out of which braces? Line number 11 or
sir.
12?
Sir, I mean at 12, you can write. If
After 12 or before 12?
I mean after 11.
After 11, okay. So it is not correct. Still I am trying. Okay. So I am executing the program. 5, I am giving 5. Okay, I forgot to put ampersand in n. Five I'm entering. So look, actually 5 is prime. I got the almost output, but the prime is printed 3 times. The prime is printed 3 times. So Acknell, any more suggestions to avoid this?
Sir, then maybe before the braces, I mean open.
Where can you say the line number?
Sir, after 8. Yeah, after 8.
After 8 means?
No,
Inside?
sir. Or sir, inside can we write prime and outside non prime?
So inside not prime means here 5, when the input is given as 5, it will print not prime, not prime, not prime. So it is not possible. Okay. So listen carefully. I am using one more variable. I am writing one more variable, f equal to 0. So this is called a flag variable. So it is just an integer variable, but f is a flag variable. But in this program, in the programs, generally flag variables takes only 2 values, 1 or 0. 1 or 0. So in this program, I am initializing f equal to 0 by an assumption that I am just assuming that the entered number will be a prime number. I am just making an assumption. Entered number will be a prime number. So in that assumption, at some point, if my assumption is false, so it may get false because if I enter not a number which is not prime, or my assumption will be false. Whenever I got that assumption as false, I will change the value of f. I will change it to 1. So I am writing f equal to 0, assuming that the entered number will be prime. So during the operation, the program will find that assumption is false. At that time, that f value will be updated to 1. So for some values, if n mod 2 equal to, sorry, here not n mod 2, it is n mod I, sorry, listen carefully, because I am calculating for 2, 3, 4 up to n minus 1. It is n mod I. So for some I values, if the remainder is 0, the meaning is our assumption is wrong. What I assumed is it will be a prime number. So if this condition becomes true at any occasion, the meaning is my assumption is false. So I will change it to f equal to 1. Okay. Next I am writing if f equal to 0. That means it will never enter this, it is not satisfied this condition. So that means it is prime. Printf prime. Else printf not prime. So I'm trying the program. I'm entering 5. So here I got only one prime. Earlier I got 3 primes. I enter another number. 8. Not a prime. So I'm trying one more input. 1. So I got the output as prime. So what about 1? Whether it is prime? Please respond. What is 1? Whether it is prime or not prime? Anyone say the answer? What about 1? Whether it is prime or not a prime?
No,
Not
sir.
prime.
No, sir. Not any.
Okay. 1 means neither prime nor composite. Neither prime nor composite. So for accommodating that, I am making a slight modification. If n equal to 1, printf neither prime nor composite. And also I am using a else if. So first we will check whether n is 1. So at that time itself it will print neither prime nor composite. If n is not 1, it will check whether check the flag values. Based on the flag values, it will print prime or not prime. So I am entering 1. I got the output as neither prime nor composite. So I will explain with the help of an example. Let n value will be 4. And initially flag will be 0. Initial value of I is 2. N mod I. N mod I is n is 4, I is 2. 4 mod 2 is 0. At the time itself it becomes f equal to 1. Then what happens? I will be incremented. I becomes 3. The condition will be checked. 3 less than or equal to 4 is true. Again n mod 3 will be calculated. N mod 3 is 1. That means this condition is false. This condition is false. So nothing will happen. Here in the earlier case itself f becomes 1. So when I equal to 2 itself, that f becomes 1. So no change in f value. Again I value will be incremented 4. 4 less than or equal to n minus 1. N minus 1 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. So earlier also I told like 4. Actually it is n minus 1. N minus 1 is 3. 4 less than or equal to 3 is false. So it will not enter into the for loop. It will check this condition. Anyway, n is equal to 1 is false because n equal to 4. F equal to 0 is also false because f already updated to 1. So in the else condition it will print as not prime. So listen carefully. Here actually there is no need of dividing it by 3. So when I divide it by 2 itself, I understood it is not a prime. So there is no meaning in continuing for 2, 3. So 2, 3 like that. Suppose if I give n equal to 100, then when I find the remainder of 100 by 2 itself, it becomes 0. So while dividing it by 2 itself, I can understand it is not a prime. So there is no meaning in dividing by 3, 4 up to 99. So what I will do here is, I will write one more statement here, that is break. So we will study break in the next class. So when the break is included, so generally after f equal to 1, I plus plus will happen. So that will not happen. It will come out of that loop. It will not execute these looping statements anymore. It will directly come to line number 14. That's the purpose of break, and it will be clear when we discuss the break in the next class. Okay. Any doubt? Please respond. If it is clear, just type clear in the chat box. One more interesting thing, I am making a slight modification. So here I have written it as I less than or equal to n minus 1. Can we write any other condition instead of that? Can anyone suggest any other condition? So I am writing one condition. One simple thing is you can write I less than n. That is also same as I less than or equal to n minus 1. I am not saying about that. So I am making a slight modification. I am instead of n minus 1, I am writing I less than or equal to n by 2. It will also produce the correct output. Earlier for 100, the I values will be going from 2 to 99. Now it is only going from 2 to 50. So the logic behind that is, after 50, that means 51, from 51 to 99, if we divide 100 by 51 to 99, it will always produce some remainder. It will always produce some remainder for any number. If it is 1000 from 501, it will always produce some remainder. So no need in going for that one. No need to check that remainder. We already know it is always some remainder will be there. So there is no meaning in checking whether it is 0 or not. So here I am giving a different number, 17. So it is prime, but it checked only up to 8. I am giving a larger number, 100. 100 means in 2 itself it will be divided by 2 and it will divisible by 2 and it will be terminate, not prime. So instead of n minus 1, you can use n by 2 also. Is it clear? Please respond. Can you understand the logic?
സാർ അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ഡൗട്ട് സാർ, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ അവിടെ ഒരു ഓഡ് നമ്പർ കൊടുത്താലോ എന്ത് സ്ഥാനത്ത്?
Okay, fine. I given 17, now 17 is odd.
Okay, sir.
Okay, what is 17 by 2? I got your doubt. 17, what is 17 by 2?
8.5.
Not 8.5. Never say it like 8.5. It is integer division.
Okay,
so it is only 8 only.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, very good question. Okay. So another interesting thing I am going to do. I'm just writing SQRT of n. I am giving 100. It is printing as not prime. SQRT means this is a library function that we will discuss later. Anyway, for the time being, you just understand SQRT is to find square root of a number. Square root of a number. So when n is 100, initially I checked it from 2 to 99. Then I used n by 2. At that time it is checking from 2 to 50. That means this loop will execute only some 48 times or some near to 50 times. Earlier it is executing something near to approximately to 100. Now the loop is executing for only 50 times. So the time is reducing. So now it is, I am using square root of n. Square root of 100 is 10. So it will execute only for 2 to 10. So earlier it is approximately 10 loop has to be executed. Just imagine I am not using break here. So I will execute the program. 100, not prime. 17, prime. Is it clear? So you can use 3 conditions. I less than or equal to n minus 1, I less than or equal to n by 2, I less than or equal to square root of n. All 3 are correct. And the most efficient one is square root of n because it will execute the loops only less number of times. One more condition is there, that is I less than n. That is same as I less than or equal to n minus 1. So what I can say, instead of this one I can write 4 conditions. I less than n, I less than or equal to n minus 1, I less than or equal to n by 2, and also I less than or equal to square root of n. So to find square root in C program you have to write sqrt. Is it clear? Any doubt? Okay. So earlier someone asked a doubt, what will happen if you give a negative number? If you give a negative number, what happens? Let me check.
Yes, sir.
Okay, someone asked earlier,
Yes, sir.
I am giving minus 100. It is giving prime number. So what I have to do? So to accommodate that, I will add one more condition. Very easy. I think Shashikant asked that doubt. So I am writing like this. If n less than 0, that means, or I am writing less than or equal to 0. Printf invalid input. Else. So one more condition is added. Now I am giving minus 100. So it is giving us invalid input. Shashikant, are you okay now? Shashikant?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So any doubt? Any more things to discuss? Okay, thank you.